China's Ministry of Commerce is urging the US to, quote, correct its mistakes, completely cancel the wrong practice of reciprocal tariffs. Well, as the trade war between President Trump and China reaches a boiling point, who will be the first to blink? Well, David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management, joins us now. So, David, what is the likelihood that Trump will actually listen to these Chinese war of words?
Roz, I think the probability is very low. And I think you've got two parties, two strong leaders that are very entrenched in their own position. And so, but if we put on our People's Republic of China hat for a second and think through the view that they're looking at this, they look at this as the U.S. in a way trying to make China less competitive in the world. And so they view this as a threat really to what they've been building for, if you look at China's economic growth since 2000 until now, so in the last 25 years, it's been unfathomable, the economic growth that China's had. And a lot of that was because why? The US opened up trade with China, which really we've built essentially China's economy over the last 20 years. And so really what I think the Communist government of China views this as a symptom of a broader US strategy to suppress China's rise. And they believe any concession that China gives the US now would only invite further US pressure. So they're treating this more as a strategic challenge, maybe not an economic crisis, but really a challenge strategically to their growth. And in some ways, you would argue in a negotiation, who has the upper hand? I mean, the US has the upper hand in the sense that we've got a stronger economy. We've got a more established base of manufacturing here in the US. So in some ways, I think the US has the upper hand, but I think China is going to continue to dig down because for them, also in their culture, pride is very important to them, right? How they're viewed, their image. So unfortunately, I don't think this is going to end anytime soon for either side.
So this looks like an old West standoff where it's like, who's going to be the first person to flinch? Because it's like 60%, 100%. Now both tariffs are over 100%.
Yeah.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but where do you see this thing going?
Yeah, and then there's been this argument against free trade versus fair trade, meaning, okay, free trade, President Trump is deploying what's called fair trade tactics, which mean, hey, if you're making trade harder, or you're adding limits to trade, then we're going to do the same thing on our side. And I've always said, if fair trade leads to free trade, then hey, that's a great thing. And ultimately, if these short-term barriers lead to China removing their barriers, that's a great thing for the U.S. It's also a great thing for the world. The challenge, though, is it's not just the tariff amount, and this is partly what the Trump administration said. It's also more than the tariffs because, again, you have currencies that are competing, meaning U.S. companies like an Apple or a Microsoft, they sell their product to a Chinese citizen who's then buying it in Chinese yuan. So China's also been manipulating their currency. And so you say, well, even if they eliminated all their tariffs, is it an even playing field? And the administration has come out pretty forcefully and said, even at 0% tariffs, it's not an even playing field because of the currency devaluation, meaning they've essentially made it better for their exports to go to the US while our dollars become stronger, which you would think would be a good thing. It's not great for our exports. So to wind it all down, the hope would be that tariffs get down to zero. But when you listen to the words of the administration, I also think they're thinking long-term here, where they think that, I'll say, for far too long, we've gotten far too cozy with communism at the risk of our own economy, but also at the risk of our national security. So I think the Trump administration is also looking at the long game here and saying, hey, this may take a few years, but if we can reduce dependency on communist China, that ultimately is going to be good for our national security. I think that's the big impact.
Gotcha. Okay, so while I have you, because I have one kind of broad question I want to end with. You deal with wealth management, you deal with finances for clients. And I think for a lot of folks, it's just like, wait, what is happening? I know this might be a little bit of a political question, but I think people see tariffs, they see the stock market freaking out. It's up one day, it's down one day, it skyrockets back the other day. What are tariffs? What are taxes? I'm not asking you to give a dissertation on what everything is, but for the layperson who just sees this, how should they be processing all of this financial upheaval?
Yep. Yeah, it's a great point. So some of this is also where are you at in your stage of investing, right? If you're young and you've got many years to go to retirement, this is great because you can buy more companies at a discount. If you're someone that's approaching retirement, many of our viewers, maybe this is a little bit different, meaning you've got to make sure that what the Yahoos in Washington, what's coming out of Washington around the world, doesn't impact your investments to the point where you thought you could retire in 3 months and now you can't because you just lost 20 or 30%. So you always want to have a bucket of your portfolio that's safe, that's not invested in the market. That could be bonds, fixed income, that's separate from the market. But here's what there's a tendency, Ross, to try to time this thing and say, you know what? I think I know what President Trump's going to do. I think I know what China's going to do. So I'm going to invest a certain way. I can tell you, that is where people get hurt. Take about a week ago, the market went up 10% in a day. And if you ask anyone if they saw that coming, most people would say
Crazy.
no. And so there's many people that sold the day before, Ross, because they were nervous and scared. If you miss that one up day, you just miss what could be one of the best days of the year. So I would say try to tune the noise out. You want to just stay invested. I can tell you, I do this for a living, Ross, and it's hard to know what Trump's going to do, President Trump or President Xi or other world leaders. So you stay invested. And if you have cash to put to work, this could be a great buying opportunity if you have a 1, 2, or 3 year timeline.
David, my friend, I've known you for almost 15 years now, and you are a wealth of information, pun intended. It's always good to see you, my friend. Thank you, and God bless.
Thanks for having me, Raj. Great to be here.